When did you start to feel some change after your stem cell?
There's not really that miracle moment. There's not that change. There's not that, yeah, the stem cells go in and you would expect something, you know, to tell you that they're working, or, you know, things are getting better or something like that. But it doesn't work that way, no. The stem cells go in and it just goes on. You know, you just keep moving around and doing your thing. And it's like having a cold. You know, when you first start with a really bad cold, and then over a period of days, suddenly you wake up one morning and you go, oh, you know, I'm not so blocked up this morning, you know, and I don't feel so bad, and you go about your business. And then after a while, you sort of realise, hang on, the cold's gone. You know, it's a bit like that, you know, you sort of, it creeps up on you, you know, and then all of a sudden they're going, after your stem cell, I think I was, as I say, I had that miracle moment. I call it the light bulb moment because I'm not a very religious man. My mother calls it a miracle. Other members of the staff and the doctors have been known to call it a miracle or a moment, as one doctor called it, where I was so sick and within hours I was so well. And then 3 days later I was out the hospital.
So would you say you're pretty much doing everything you could before?
Yeah, I mean, I tried everything that was recommended to me. They sent me to nutritionists and stuff like that. I haven't changed my lifestyle very much at all. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, I still eat hamburgers and I still go out to dinner. I still drink alcohol, very little, which I always did anyway. So, you know, there's been very, very little change in my life. Besides that, I have very little mobility. 100 metres is about my distance to walk, and I'm out of breath, and I'm quite knackered. Going down to the mailbox and walking back to the house is a very strenuous. I lose my breath, everything like that. I actually take the same stuff that Lance Armstrong's just been done for. So I take RMS, which they give me I take every fortnight, to keep my blood cell count up, because it increases your blood cell count. So every fortnight now I take that. And another little invention they've got, which I discovered throughout the process, instead of having needles, because I'm terrified of needles, so I'm always looking for alternatives where they're concerned, is the SureClick pen, which is a plastic pen. They epilepsy and stuff like that use them, but they can actually fill them with your medication. So instead of having needles for certain things, they can put it into one of these SureClicks for you instead, and you can have it in the SureClick. Now the SureClick's a wonderful device. You put it on your leg, you press the button, you take your finger off the button, you look at the screen, it turns yellow, the button clicks out, you take it off. It's so simple, it's so effective, and as I say, there's no plungers, there's no nothing, there's a button. Click, take your finger off the button, and it does it all itself automatically. It goes click, when it's finished, little yellow screen. What you've got in the tube is inside you afterwards. You can do it anywhere on your body. I choose to do it in my thigh, but you can do it in your stomach, leg, arm. It doesn't really matter. But so you SureClick, as I say, and then you've got your butterflies for needles. Where the weight loss and diarrhea was concerned, I struggled very hard with that. They wanted to put me onto tube feeding, which I kept on refusing. And I just made the extra effort of forcing food down myself and trying to eat properly, trying to drink as much as possible, get as much liquid into me, although I was throwing it back up and it was coming out the other end at the same time as well, and kept on replacing. And all that kept on going through my mind was, if I don't do this, they're going to put a tube down my throat and they're going to feed me that way. And they give you this horrible stuff in a box. I'm not sure what it's called, but it is absolutely revolting. And tried to get me to drink that, which was not quite successful because I couldn't stomach it. But yeah, you know, it's all down to you. The doctors can only do so much. They can only get you to do so much. The rest of it is you. You know, if you want to sit on that bed and just go, oh, you know, I feel so sick today and rah, 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 and tomorrow I'm going to feel so sick and I don't want to move, then you are going to feel sick and sit there and just sit there and sit there, you know. So, yeah, my recommendation is move as much as possible, drink as much liquid as possible, listen to your doctors. If you have anything that is repeating itself and you feel as though your doctor is not paying close attention to, just keep repeating yourself. Never give up. Never feel as though I'm talking to a brick wall, because eventually somebody's going to listen. You know, somebody's going to hear what you're saying, because they're dealing with bigger problems, and you might think it's a big problem, but to them it's a much smaller problem, you know, compared to their picture. So when they get rid of their stuff, they start looking at the little things that have got you, you know. So in the end, that's basically it. Yeah. Anything anyone wants to know at all?
People might be interested to know, Mark, what you're up to now. So.
What I'm up to now? Well, I'm doing very well, actually. I'm at home. I've been out of the hospital now for a couple of months. I haven't been back in at all. I put on weight. I'm up to 75 kilos, which has made me a very happy man. I carry 2 litres of liquid around inside me at all times. I dialyse 4 times a day, which means I have to plug in. I have a tube in my stomach, which I take out, I plug in. I don't find that to be a problem. Some people might. I go out. We've been to parks, restaurants, pubs, parties. I'm not shy of getting my bag out, breaking it open, hanging it on a tree branch, slinging it over the back of a couch, on a chair, and sitting on the floor, and because it's all gravity fed when you're on PD. So I put it on the back of a chair and I'll sit on the floor, or I'll hang it off a tree in a park or on a brick wall, and I'll empty out and fill back up. It takes about 25 minutes and my dialysis is done. So I do that 4 times a day. At the moment I'm sleeping empty, which has been a bit different after carrying around that and then suddenly lying down. It's only been the last couple of weeks that I've stayed sleeping empty. And then I fill back up again in the mornings, because I actually did have some repair to my kidneys, which is another oddity. They didn't expect that at all. They assumed once you're up to 4 bags and been on the machines as long as I have, that there's going to be no repair at all. So I did get a bit of repair 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, and they dropped me down to allow me to not sleep with any liquid in, and we're seeing how that goes. Other than that, I'm quite fine. Colds are really hard to get rid of. Yeah, I've had a cold the last 2 weeks. Normally I get a cold and I can get over it, but I'm finding it's hanging in a lot longer than they ever did before with me. I get out of bed every morning, try and do something every day. Even if it's mostly it's only a very short thing. If to your average person, I'd look like a very, very lazy person, you know. To your average person looking at me from the outside, not knowing, they'd be going, this man is a very lazy person. You know, he's not doing anything, he's sitting around. But to actually get out of that bed and go to that kitchen and make that cup of tea some days, and then just go back to the bed and then just have my cup of tea and stuff, and then maybe get up and walk out to the front and sit out there and then go back to the bed again, is a lot of work. And to try and explain that to somebody, they can't quite understand that, hang on, walking from here to there and walking back again, how could that be a lot of work? When it actually is. It's a lot of work at some points, you know. And I've got to a point now that, as I say, if I walked from here to the entryway here, I'm huffing and puffing. You know, I can't go up hills. Trying to move up a hill, any sort of incline, I don't do very well. Yeah, it's yeah. So now I'm doing very fine. I mean, my counts have been very good. I've had very good counts of recently. I'm due for another bone marrow test to see how my myeloma's going, see if it's come back yet or not. That'll be in the next couple of weeks. I've just had an MRI last week on my brain. You have all these strange tests. They send you in for MRIs for this, MRIs for that. One of the side effects that has cropped up in the last 4 weeks that is a bit odd was that during my transplant back, I seem to have gathered more female hormones. So I'm growing breasts is the best way to go about it. I've got breast tissue growing. I was getting very sore chest. I was worried that it was my heart because it was this side. I went in and they did some tests. I went down to the breast clinic and they did ultrasounds last week before, and discovered that I had breast tissue growing. So, you know, as women would know, as your breasts grow, it's quite painful. I'm finding out that I never realised that, you know, but now I'm realising, you know, that is quite a painful thing, growing breasts. So I am, and it's going on both sides now. It was mainly on this side, but I'm getting on the other side. They did blood tests and everything and found that I had a high rate of female hormones. Had been got back in with my stem cell. So, you know, that was one of the side effects. The only real side effects I have had from my stem cell transplant is that I happen to have more female hormones than male hormones at the moment, which they're looking into. They can change around with tablets and pills and control. I go back to the breast clinic next week for another interview, and we see how we go from there. But yeah, they're not bad, you know. If you've got to have them, they might as well be nice ones, you know. And what else is happening to me at the moment? Not a great deal. As I say, growing breasts, kidneys have got a little bit better. Stem cell was a process that was reasonably good. You know, I got a partial remission. For somebody that walked in the door, so I believe with most myeloma patients, you'll be diagnosed well and truly in advance of having an organ failure. I walked in the door with a organ failure and then was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. So I didn't get any kind of break. I went bang, 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 you know, through the system and come out the other end. It's just under 12 months now, and here I am, you know, so thank you.